What's up, people? Striatus.Cooldaddy here, bringing you a tutorial, and this was on demand, the masking tutorial. So let's see what we're gonna do. Okay, we have someone jump off the cliff, and we have the LOL coming from behind it. Here we go. Good. Now let's open up After Effects. So this is going to be just the masking tutorial. As you can see, I already prepared the footage here. Here's the raw footage. And here we have our jump off with behind this cliff. The text is behind the cliff. And yeah. Okay. So let's start with a new comp. And let's make it 720p. I'll explain why. And okay, so I already have dragged in my raw footage from my previous comp. Let me just redo that. Here you have my raw footage, just one simple jump off. We're just going to use this one. This one was a second take and it wasn't so great. Okay, so we have our raw footage right here. Now, we put it in here, and as you can see, it's a lot bigger than 720p. That's because this is recorded in 1080p, and it helps get rid of the spectate, markings right there. Somehow my graphics card is spazzing out, so whatever this thing on the side is, I don't know what it is. It's just I updated my GPU lately, and that's what's causing it. So, what we want to do is we want to. Oh, this is the bad take. Even though I think we can work with this as well. Okay, so as you saw in my montage, or in Exhibit's montage, the intro was he jumped off slower. So I did that with timer mapping. Let's do that now before we do anything else. So enable timer mapping. We might want to use pixel motion for this, so double click on this and make sure this is clicked. This will enable pixel motion. One time is frame blending and the other is pixel motion. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, as soon as he jumps off, that's when we're going to set a keyframe. So about here, and the ending keyframe is about there. And we really only want that area timer mapped, so we select these first two keyframes, drag them out, and then we drag this thing out here, and we see how it turns out. It'll probably be a little bit laggy. Here, let's have a render. Numpad 0 will give you a full RAM preview with audio. It's also how I sync, so remember that. So let's give it a RAM preview. This might take a while. Honestly, it looks good for me. It's not that bad. Okay, now that we've done this, we want to duplicate this. The first layer will be our masking layer. The second layer will just be our video layer. These two must always be in perfect sync, otherwise your masking is going to be messed up. Okay, now we want to rename this, so let's go click it, rename, and say mask, and rename actual footage. Okay. Now, when we add the mask, what we will be doing is just masking the cliff. So we take the pen tool and we click here and we just follow along these contours of the cliff. Be as accurate as you can. It doesn't have to be perfect, but be as accurate as you can. Okay, looks good. And now to finish it up, we just draw around it, and we close it. And yeah, that's our mask. And that's pretty much it. And then you can see we have the stuff behind it, and it just jumps off. Okay, now in order to add text behind it, what we need to do is we just make a new text layer, and so your text here. And yeah, then we rotate it. Whoops, that was footage. Don't want that. Want to rotate our text. This is very long text, so maybe we should shorten it. Even though that would be a great effect, we still want the full text to be on our footage at the very end. Now, what we also might want to do is we have to check that this is kind of, you know, behind his ass perfectly. So just make sure it's in the alignment with his body at first. Okay, now let's get into the animation of the text and the putting text behind the jumper's butt. So now we just press P for position, and we put a keyframe here, and we want this about approximately here where our jumper is going to be. So let's move that down a little bit. Let's move this down. Okay. Yeah, that looks good. So, in order to get it, you're like saying, "Oh my God, it's not behind the cliff. What is going on here? You told me it would go behind the cliff, but it's not." Well, all we have to do is really put the text between the mask and the actual footage, and you see, it'll go behind this thing magically. Now we just have to make sure this doesn't pass him. Uh-oh, what happened here? Huh. Did I apply the mask to, oh, I applied the mask to this layer. So all we have to do is really swap it. Sorry. So, rename this one again. This is the mask. And this is actual footage. Okay. So now you can see also this thing passes him. So maybe we should put a keyframe a little earlier around here and move this back. So we have this. And then we just keyframe it forward a little bit more. And yeah, it looks good. And a little bit more. And then you can see it's on the screen. You don't really have to do much. You can have it either on the screen or you can just let it fly off by just animating the rest. This is a frame by frame, not really frame by frame, but a very accurate way of animating. So also here you see there's some overlapping. You don't want actual overlapping, so maybe move it back a little bit on where you have overlaps and control your keyframes. So in general, this looks pretty decent. Let's give it a render. Okay, there are some things I need to fix with the animation. Okay, so you see, I should probably reanimate this. I'm not going to do that for this tutorial, but it looks decent, and I'm going to leave it at that. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Now, in order to get this rendered, if you have the Adobe CS5 suite, I would recommend you just save the project, and then you open Media Encoder, and you just render out the stuff you want to render out. When you save it, you put it at the end of your footage, whatever. You hit save, because then that's where the marker will be in Media Encoder, and you can just shorten it until there. The other way of doing it is the render queue. You just drag in your comp, and you choose your settings. You know, you can have it AVI, or you can have it. I like to use this format, H264, RGB audio output, and so on and so forth. Yeah, so I hope you enjoy this tutorial, and I guess if you have any more requests, I will make a tutorial on that, and I hope to see more great editing and great montages in the future. So that was Striatus.Cooldaddy, and I'm out.